our guests of the banquet come from all walks of life. A lot of times people hear the banquet and they think of homeless people. And granted, the banquet does serve homeless people in our community, but people are surprised to learn that that's not the majority of the people that eat at the banquet. The majority of the people that eat at the banquet are people just like you and I. They're getting up every day, they're going to work, they're paying their rent, they're taking their children to school, they're paying their bills, putting gas in their car. And by the time they do those things, they're not able to provide a meal for their children. I think it takes a lot of character for a parent to put their pride behind them and say, my children cannot eat ramen noodles again tonight. I'm taking my children to the banquet so that they can have a well-balanced meal. Today, with all the things I have to worry about, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to get my kids to school? How am I going to do everything that I need to do today? To be able to take that one burden away, that they do not have to worry about how am I going to feed my children tonight. I think that is where so many people are so grateful to be eating at the banquet. Not only are people coming and getting their bodies fed, but guests are coming and getting their souls fed as well.
So we got here about 2 o'clock. We started to get the meal together, so Jody was able to give us kind of the list of, some of the chores to kind of what steps we needed to take to get going. So we cut up a lot of sweet potatoes. We got some pork ready for the guests tonight, and just kind of kept ourselves busy. It's a full 3 hours. It's a great opportunity. It's one of those things where you're giving people so much, but in return you're getting a lot more, which is, it sounds selfish, but at the same time it's great to come down here. Anything for you? Salt? I think for me it's just incredible how many people, how many guests there are in a given night. I think they're projecting about 420 or something like that, which is, it's amazing to think about, and I think they were talking about how many children were going to be there because school's out, and I think that's really brings it home to me, is how much of a need there is in our community for a meal, just for a simple meal.
Last year, the banquet served over 196,000 meals to people in need in our community. 26,000 of those meals were served to children 12 or younger. All of those meals were prepared by and paid for by volunteer groups. In 2014, the banquet started serving a meal at Banquet West. It's currently 2 nights a week we're serving at the fairgrounds, at the Nordstrom Johnson building at the fairgrounds. And that is strictly to meet the needs of people struggling with poverty who live in the northwest part of our community. And we started out there, the average number on any given night was anywhere from 40 to 60 people, and now we're serving 200 and 225 people.
And everything has to be unloaded and set up, anything from chairs to tables to food to anything like that. Everything's labeled very nicely in a tote, and so it really just takes a lot of us to get everything wiped down, clean, set up, just going, just to start getting food ready. We'll hand out jobs based on how many volunteers that we have. And then once we get everyone set up, they feel comfortable, they feel like they know what they're doing, then we'll start everyone kind of coming through the line, getting food going. Once everything's going, everyone who has a job will kind of do that job till around 6:30. And then we'll try to switch people around just so everyone has a chance to eat, everyone has a chance to sit down, mingle, talk to someone. I love it. I love it. I love serving the community, and what's great about the banquet is there's a huge emphasis on talking to people, which is what I love to do. There's just so many great people that come out here.
We want this to be a safe experience for everybody who comes, volunteers and guests alike. So for this reason, we're going to be on a first name basis at the banquet this evening. The guests are going to know our first names by our name tags. And I want you to feel free to ask your guests for their first names. Tonight we ask you to do 2 things. We ask you to do the obvious, serve your guests this wonderful meal. And then we ask you to take time to sit down and share this meal with your guests. Because tonight, guys, tonight you're the hosts of this meal. Tonight you are the banquet.
I feel like there's this big misconception that everyone who comes has to be homeless and things like that, but there's a lot of expenses that kind of come up. Some people are homeless for sure, you know, really want that meal, but a lot of people come just because they can save extra money if they don't have to worry about that grocery expense. Wednesday night cleanup, we pack everything back on the truck. All the chairs have to go up, all the tables go in a certain formation. And so that cleanup's a little more extensive, but we get everything back in its proper tote, and then it goes on the truck, and then we start again next week.
Like extra barbecue sauce on that? No? Okay. Do you want water or milk?
How long were you in Florida?
Pork's good? Sweet.
Yeah, no, it didn't look that bad when it happened. Come down here because I just like to help out those that are a little less fortunate than myself. There's just not necessarily people that are less fortunate, there are people that are going through a tough time, and we all go through tough times, so it's just good to be there for our neighbors and help out. It just seems like every time you come, everyone is always thank you, thank you, thank you. Very appreciative of everything that we do, go out of the way to talk with you and sit down with you, and they not just one-ended questions on my part, it's them asking myself questions.
It'd be nice to have some ice cream.
These are just people from our community. They're just regular folk that are going through a difficult time. And so I think I welcome anybody to come down here and to help out, because this is just an amazing experience, an amazing ministry, if you will, that we have in our community to help out. Extra barbecue sauce on there? Got enough. It's got quite a bit on there already. I'd say come down and give it a try. I mean, there's nothing that you're going to lose, nothing to be afraid about. These are just regular folk from our community.
It feels comfortable. It's at home. You meet a lot of people that you never would have known without coming out here.
Debbie came to the banquet a few years ago, and she kind of came for a unique reason. She had recently had a medication that changed. She'd been to the drugstore, and she was told that her medication was now going to be $62 more a month than it had previously been. She came to the banquet asking if there was any way that she could get some help. Debbie now eats at the banquet. She eats all of her meals at the banquet so that she can afford to pay for those medications. She's making a choice. She's making a choice to, I could go buy groceries or I can buy the medicines that I need. So she buys the medicines that she needs, and she comes to the banquet to eat.
There's a lot of people out there that are homeless that can't afford to have a meal, and coming out here to a meal like this, it's a life-saving. It really does, and it helps a lot of people, even myself.
It's not just for the homeless, it's for people who kind of like live check by check, which I do myself. We have family, because that's what the banquet is. It's a clean place. It's very safe for children, it's very safe for adults and stuff, so I would welcome anybody down here. It helps with the gap because one check of mine, I live check by check, and I've been doing that for years. And I just provide a home for my children. One bill goes to that, and then the other bills goes to my utilities. And some people might call me lazy, but I'm not lazy. I'm just, I try to do what I have to do with, meeting my my finances and stuff. So coming down here and having a meal is just perfect. We're no different. And I think a lot of people think we're different because once they hear homeless or the banquet, then they put a red flag up. We're not different. We're just like you.
I want to thank you for really taking to heart what we asked you to do at the beginning of the night. If you remember, when we started out this evening, we asked you to do two things. We asked you to serve your guests this wonderful meal, which you did, and then we asked you to take time to sit down and share this meal with your guests. We like to say around here, first we feed the body and then we feed the soul. What we feed the body will last only for today, but what we feed the soul has the potential to last for a lifetime. There's a huge sense of community here at the banquet. For the people, the guests who eat at the banquet, this place is so much more than a meal. This place is a community. It's their neighbors, it's their friends, and it's because of people like you that is possible. This all happens because of you guys. You're the banquet. This building that we're in, it's just a building that happens to have the words "The Banquet" written on top of a few of the doors. It's not until you come in and prepare these meals,
pay for these meals, serve these meals, and share in fellowship with the guests of the banquet. It's not until that happens that the banquet ministry happens. And every smile that you saw tonight, every thank you that you heard is a reflection of the impact that you made here this evening. The volunteer is everything to the banquet. Without the banquet volunteers, there would be no banquet.
The volunteers are always amazing people that are here, and we really appreciate all the help that they give. And without the volunteers, this place wouldn't be possible. So that's an amazing thing, and it's coming from God through them, and I really appreciate it, and I know a lot of other people do too.
People who volunteer at the banquet realize that it is an essential ministry in our community. Many people, hundreds of people each day rely on the banquet ministry to make sure that their nutritional needs are met. Please consider volunteering at the banquet.